football, the next 7 days will potentially impact the next 11 years. Hi, everyone, and welcome to NFL Total Access. I'm your host, Scott Hansen. The NFL owners' proposed collective bargaining agreement is now in the hands of the Players Union, and a week-long vote to reject or ratify is currently underway. A yes vote would mean labor, peace, and uninterrupted football for the next 11 years. The proposed deal has been negotiated by the owners and the players for months. The key points of the deal: increased money for the players based on the league going to a 17-game regular season and adding 2 playoff games. Let's go to NFL media insider Tom Pelissero right now. Tom, take us through the process that started this morning and will run for the next week.
Well, Scott, over 2,500 players received that email this morning, and it only takes a simple majority of votes cast to ratify the CBA. So players now have about 8 days to unpack a 456-page document and cast their votes before balloting closes at 11:59 p.m. Eastern next Thursday, March 12th. Now, the timing of all this is very relevant to the football business at hand. The voting closes just 8 hours after the deadline for teams to apply the franchise and/or transition tags, which means any team that used both would have to rescind one if the CBA is ratified. It's also just 4 days before the negotiating window opens for clubs to speak to the agents for prospective free agents starting on March 16th. My understanding is no plans for the NFL to change the timing of all that at this point. For the moment, a lot of deals on hold as agents, teams, and players wait to see what rules they're going to be playing under in 2020.
Yeah, wow. Look, some fans are really interested in the minutia and the details and how this all. Every fan is interested in, is this going to pass? Are we going to have uninterrupted football for the next 11 seasons? What are the best indicators you have right now as to how this vote will go?
Scott, the expectation all along has been that if the vote went to all players, it would be ratified. But let's remember, the NFL Players Association Executive Committee, which negotiated this deal, voted 6-5 not to recommend it to the Board of Representatives. And that board, which is the 32 player reps representing 32 teams, passed it narrowly by a 17-14 vote with 1 abstention to push it along to all players. That alone tells you this vote is going to be closer than a lot of people believed it would be even a couple of weeks ago. Now, you've also had guys like Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers emailing teammates in recent days, explaining why he doesn't think they got enough for adding the 17th game. And high-profile players like Todd Gurley, Aaron Donald, Kenny Stills got on social media today to say that they are voting no on this deal. Now, unlike back in 2011 when the current CBA was ratified with a voice vote in training camp, this one's being done electronically. So we will see what impact, if any, social media peer pressure has on a process that will impact every current, former, and future NFL player over the next 11 years.
Yeah, in this case, a 7-day vote, a week-long vote, social media acting as exit polls, if you will, and Tom Pelissero will be watching it every step of the way. Thank you, Tom. Another big story now. A couple of weeks ago, Drew Brees posted this on his Instagram account, announcing that he was coming back for his 20th NFL season, and New Orleans rejoiced, right? Well, today, in a radio interview, he made it clear that even though he is a free agent, there's only one team for him.
I have no intention of going anywhere. I don't care what the offer would be or what the situation might be. I'm Who Dat Nation for life, and so as long as they'll have me and as long as I want to play, that's where I'll be.
All right, that interview earlier today. Let's bring in 3-time Pro Bowl running back Maurice Jones-Drew, Willie McGinnis, 3-time Super Bowl champion. You guys are both smiling right now because it sounds like a hometown discount will be in order there, I would think, in New Orleans.
I mean, you're going straight to the money, huh, Scott?
That's what we are. We are in the business of football. So when you hear what Drew Brees is talking about, and he's saying that he doesn't matter what the price is, that becomes an issue for me, Willie, because at this point in time, right now we can't pay you $25, $35 million. I'm going to tell you why. One, because you have Andrews Pete, you have Eli Apple, P.J. Williams, and Johnson Batamosi, who are up this year. Next year is going to be the big problem, because if I have to cash you all this money now, we're going to have to kind of delay a little bit. But we have Demario Davis, Jared Cook, Marshawn Lattimore, Alvin Kamara, and Sheldon Rankins all got to get paid. Right. So you're going to have to give me something. I mean, come to the table, and I'm not saying you got to play for $2 now.
Exactly. He might do what this guy Tom Brady has done for years. Tom Brady's been the best quarterback in the NFL for almost 2 decades, and he's never necessarily been the highest paid guy. So, but
the difference is Drew Brees has always wanted to be the highest paid guy. He's always wanted. He's always been up there. So
he's deserved it.
You don't question it. So he's going to have to take his pride and ego to the side and probably take a lot less than what he was expecting.
Well, I don't know what a lot less is, but I think that the offer would be respectable to Drew Brees.
They're not going to say, here's $8 million.
Right. Somebody who's brought him a championship, somebody who's been dedicated to the Saints nation, and somebody who's, just to be clear, one of the best quarterbacks still in the NFL. Still in the NFL. So I think there are a lot of creative ways that those GMs and people who do the contracts know how to either give you a little bit more in the signing bonus, take money, however they do it, they'll figure it out. And I'm not saying he's going to be the highest paid.
No.
I do agree with you. But he's at a place now where he wants to finish his career in New Orleans. He's done enough. He's made a lot of money. He understands that. So it has to be something even terms.
And he wants to win. This team is still one of the upper echelon teams. What's the Super Bowl window here, guys? Is this last
right now.
1 year, 2 years?
If he's leaving, they're going to have to rebuild a lot of different things. This system was customized for Drew Brees and Sean Payton.
You're exactly
right.
It's
perfect.
You're exactly right. But the way these young quarterbacks are coming out in both the AFC and the NFC, it's tough. I mean, let's be honest. The Saints lost at home to the Minnesota Vikings in the playoffs.
It was a bad loss.
A bad loss for a team that probably should have ran the table 2-3 years before, and this year was one of the top teams. So you win 13 games, you can't lose at home. So I don't know if the window, and listen, we're the Saints. I'm not hating. I'm just being honest. I know I haven't been here in a while. Ain't no hate.
There's a lot of teams that lost that people didn't think should have lost in the playoffs.
No question. But I'm just saying, this is one of those things.
Took Maurice one chat session here to call for his one shot.
I didn't
actually call for
it. It was already there. I just went to it.
Because Roy's hitting all the right buttons.
Yeah, I saw it.
On top of it there. All right, guys, some other news from the interview that he did in the radio. This is Drew Brees, but he was talking on a Boston radio station. So, of course, they asked him about Tom Brady and the future of his fellow free agent quarterback. Here's what Brees had to say.
I love Tom Brady. I feel the way everybody else around here does about Tom Brady. He's a legend, and I don't see him going anywhere. But then again, I can't speak for him or anybody else. I don't think any of this is about money for Tom. I think it's about winning another championship. I also think it's probably about feeling like he's in a situation where he's got all the pieces in place to do that. Again, I can't speak for him, but I know at this stage in the game and knowing his mentality to a degree, it's about winning a championship.
And with the latest on Brady Watch, here is Mike Giardi.
There is no free agent or potential free agent attracting quite as much attention and buzz as Tom Brady. But the question is, how many teams will really be involved? While there are as many as 12 teams that have reportedly been sniffing around and knocking on that door prior to the legal tampering period, I'm told to expect the number to actually be much smaller than that, in part because many of these teams don't necessarily want to turn over their entire franchise to a quarterback who will be 43 in August and has played in the same system for the last 20 years. And the other part of that is from Brady's needs. It's all about winning a championship for him. So you can talk about this large number of teams, but actually how many of those teams can deliver on that good and surround him with the talent to win another title?
Chase Young. It's so difficult to block Chase Young regardless of what side he's on. Down he goes. The pocket collapsed. Chase Young got there.
Oh, the defensive line position. We talk a lot about the wide receiver depth in the upcoming draft. The defensive linemen, Daniel Jeremiah loves them. And in his top 50 prospects, he has 11 defensive linemen. We didn't even put Chase Young on the board. We already know he's the best available prospect, according to DJ. But you look at the rest of the D linemen right there, and I turn to my interior defender right now, Willie McGinnis.
Yes.
You were at the Combine. You got to see all the guys that worked out there in Indianapolis. What D lineman impressed you at the Combine?
Wow, I wish I could talk about more, but everybody was talking about the Auburn kid, Derek Brown. But what about his teammate, Marlon Davison, the defensive end who had 7.5 sacks last year? Here's a guy Who's big? You see the size.
Moving.
He's explosive. He's strong, coming off the edge. But when you talk about these drills, you can tell how athletic these guys are. And what scouts and GMs are looking at is always talk about this versatility within the position. How many different ways can you use these guys? In the run game, can you move them down the line? A zero technique, a three technique, defensive end? Because when you switch schemes, these players got to be able to do that. And then my other guy was Justin Matabuke. Here's a guy right here out of Texas A&M as well. Talk about violent. Talk about a guy who's great with his hands, had good feet, good in space. And I don't expect these guys to look like the DBs and the outside linebackers in these drills, but to move in a small space, to be able to be explosive, the way they hit the bags, the way they got around these hoops, these certain drills like that, you can tell when they're in their comfort zone, which means their position, they can make those plays and they can do the things you need them to do.
Were those balled up socks he was scooping up right there? They're towels. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Hey, you got to be quick like that. Thank you, Willie.
Yeah.
You got a Texas A&M tie on today. Interesting from the USC Trojan. Hey, a week from tonight, we have a Path to the Draft Pro Day special. Look at the pro days that we've got coming up in a week. Oregon, Oklahoma, Wisconsin, not pictured on this graphic. Clemson has their pro day. And we have a 1-hour special Thursday night, next Thursday, 8 o'clock Eastern, to